Okay, we are live. Good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday and Merry Beltane. And happy birthday, Raven Bella. Um, you made another trip around the sun. You survived. Congratulations. So I see here somebody sent me an Instagram message. Do I have an Instagram? I'll be honest with you. If you're contacting me via Instagram, you probably won't get a notification or a response because I don't even know that I know my password. Um, I seem to recall using it when I first tried to start up because everybody told me I need a social media presence, and I was trying to learn all these different platforms. And I'll be honest, some of them I just gave up. We decided to focus on a few of them. And I think Facebook was the one that won out originally, but they're also the one that's been giving us all the problems now. So we may have to regroup and reconsider. However, it is interesting you bring this up. A buddy of mine contacted me and told me that they had a bunch of people messaging me whether or not they still knew me, was still in contact with me, and if my Twitter account would still be active or would begin to get updated again. And I told the guy, I was like, I forgot even I had one of them things. But with Facebook giving us the trouble they're getting, and we have been getting a few interests from that direction, we are looking at potentially trying to see if that particular brand of social media might be a avenue to reach out to people. So if you're on the Twitter and you do any of the tweeting and any of that, look us up. I'll try and make sure there's a link in the social media stuff on that so y'all know. As many of you know, I'm not good with social media. I really am not. The big pitch, I think a lot of people say that I would do good is because I have random thoughts and you can just, what do they call it, tweet it out, shoot it out, whatever it is. So maybe that'll work. Instagram, I honestly don't even really know what you do with Instagram. To me, I don't know. My daughter uses something called Snapchat, and I'll be honest, I don't understand that one at all. So for now, your best method of getting a hold of me for sure will either be through the live streams here, which my camera looks crooked as hell for some reason. The Gilded Community, we have a wonderful question section there. I check it regularly. Or email, and that's at workingdragonmystic@gmail.com. I will admit the email, I get flooded with so many emails it can get lost in the shuffle. The first two are actually your better options. Hope that helps you out a little bit. Let's see, is good for, oh, well, Lord, I don't do photography. Yeah, okay. So I hope that helps you out, Victor. Shoot me the message in one of the other forums or join the Gilded so I can help you out. Jade, wonderful to see you. Soul, glad you can make it. Tinker Train, I am doing pretty good. I'm doing really good. Really good here. Tara, good to see you. GK, hello. Emrys, hey, good to see you. Happy Beltane to you too, Perrin. Saeed, good night, guys. How are y'all doing? Doing great, my man. Doing great. Let's see. All right. Huge thing. I actually have to give a massive shout out. Earlier this week, a viewer in the Gilded Community, Eris, actually donated a GoPro action cam to the channel. Yeah. This should allow me to get some of those outdoor shots that I've been trying to do and trying to, finagle around weather and everything, because y'all know my camera's not waterproof. And yeah. I even made a joke about putting a plastic bag on my camera. Next thing I know, they're donating a camera. This past week, okay, between last week's donation and the super chats and then this camera, I am absolutely floored at your all's support for the work I do in this channel. You know what? Mugs up to you, Eris. Appreciate it very, very much. Let's see. Oh, Drake is a cool guy. I watch many live streams. Just saying loud dragon noises. Peace out. 12. Let's see. Instagram's good for photography. Greetings. Hey, Dragon of the West. Greetings from Finland. Hey, thank you for joining us. Let's see. Greetings from France. Hey, Mario, man. Good to see you. Luna, good to see you as well. Abominable. I will admit, vampirism is a tricky topic because there's a lot of people who are very fandomy about it, and there's a lot of people who take it very, very seriously, and then there's a bunch of edge lords that take both sides, the fun and the serious, and they twist it and abuse it into something absolutely awful. I'll be honest with you. You largely have two communities. One of them is definitely a bit more quiet about their stuff. That would be what's referred to as the elder vampire community, and that community actually is what gave birth in the late 70s, early 80s to what we today know as the modern vampire community, which started out very strict, had very good structure to it, but as it grew and grew, it started letting in more LARPers and role players and stuff like that, and it turned into a hot mess, and there is a lot of information in there that just it's BS. To be in all honest, it's pure BS. As far as a spiritual source of vampirism, there's really nothing known to that. And as far as to being turned into a vampire, you can't be turned. You can't. Sorry. That is one of the false informations out there. There are particular types of magic that actually has nothing to truly do with vampires themselves that are viewed as vampiric sorcery, but they actually have nothing to do with vampires or a requirement of being a vampire. If you are interested in vampires, though it's not a all-inclusive, complete end-all, be-all source, one of your better sources to start with is the Psychic Vampire Codex by Michelle Belanger. Really good author. She's done a lot of good work in there, and she touches on at least the more public side of it. That would be where I'd recommend. As to will we touch on vampire here on this channel? I don't know. I work a lot with some of the vampire communities. I have a lot of friends who fall into that category. And most of them right now want to be left alone because of a lot of pagan hate. There's been a lot of hate from the pagan communities, and there's been a lot of edgelords that have only made life worse for them, and they really just want to be left in peace. So a good chunk right now for me is I plan to honor and respect that, and probably won't cover a lot of it here on this channel. Because there are a lot of people misusing a lot of that drastically, and it's absolutely disgusting in my mind to watch how many people misuse and twist that. So, let's see, Andrea, greetings from Mexico. Hey, greetings. Evan McGraw, greetings, Drake. What's on the menu tonight? Well, we got a few things to cover tonight, a few announcements and whatnot, and then I figured I might take a few of your questions. Trying to get through some of these earlier questions asked here, but let's go ahead and cover some of these announcements so I don't forget. Real quick, if you are here, though, give us a thumbs up. It lets the YouTube algorithm know you like what we're doing, and they're more inclined to show this to people who actually like this content. There you go. So if you can, give us a thumbs up if you're here. Great way to help us out. Let's see here. I'm supposed to remind you all we do have channel memberships now. If you want to support the channel and support the work we do, it's down there somewhere. You can sign up 3 tiers of support. I think it's 5, 10, and 15 different tier perks. As far as the perks go, Patreon and some of the links have been giving us some issues, so we may have to adjust some of the perks. I do apologize about that. I do not know what's necessarily going on there. We are working hard to find out. But if we do have to adjust them, I will do my dangest to make sure you guys get compensated for your support, because I appreciate the support you all give the channel. seriously, it makes it, well, keeps the lights on first, but it is very, very appreciated. So let's see. And my little phone here just turned off. Apparently, I've been told I don't mention the online school enough. I don't know. I thought I'd mentioned that quite a bit, but I've been told I don't. And this is actually in emails. People's like, I didn't know you had a school. Why don't you tell us about it on the live stream? Okay, so I'm going to do that. We do have an online school. It's video courses. It's not me teaching live. It's just video courses that we have recorded that allows us to go a lot more in depth than I can do on YouTube or here in the live streams. We do have several courses up there already. We continue to add to it. You can go to workingdragonmystic.com and there'll be a courses or class button up on toward the left top. Click that, take you right over there. Currently, we have a tarot class, Dragon Magic 101, Dragon Magic 102, a meditation class, and there's even a free arcane sight class. So there you go. I mentioned it. And I'm also supposed to remind y'all, we do have a gilded community. It's free. You can pop in there, sign up. There's usually a link in the About section. Maybe one of the moderators will drop a link so you can apply there. Good little community where we can all chat, share our daily workings, what we're doing. There's a little section set aside for asking questions that everyone can try and help you on. Pretty handy little community. Good source of camaraderie, too. Camaraderie is always a very helpful thing, if you want my opinion. Oh, yeah, another one, big one here. I have recently started and shifted my private research. As many of you know, I've been working with the Norse, and I just finished a large working there, and I got to compile those notes. And in the process, I am also starting to compile some of my journey work notes about the planes and astral travel and soul travel and stuff like that, and start to organize those into something that's going to be a bit more presentable, which I think will help us to get a journey work course up on the school in a way that's normally when I teach journey work, it's one-on-one. So I have that very intimate setting where I can answer questions, ask questions, with video courses, you don't really have that. So I need to organize it a little better, but this is going to help me do that. We are currently working on the evocation course though. And that one's coming along nicely. It looks like that course will have probably 100 or more entities in it. Many of you who are channel members and Patreon members, I've tried to keep you guys posted and updated. You guys know you get first updates and early class access and stuff like that. So a lot going on here. Really great. Staying very, very busy. I have been made aware that there is a new book on Dragon Magic out. So before you ask, no, I have not fully read it. No, I cannot recommend it. I have acquired it. I do plan to review it. I do plan to read through it, take some notes, try out some of the workings in it, and potentially I'm looking at actually doing a full video review on my opinion on it. I'll be honest with you, I'm hoping it's a good book. I really am, because it would really, really be a good thing for Dragon Magic to have more good sources out there. Right now, from what I'm looking at, though, it is very, very ceremonial focused. It's more ceremonial focused. So where Conway's was more Wicca focused, this one seems to be very ceremonial focused. Though at the same time, and this is just at a glance, it pretty much looks like they just took Conway's work and placed ceremonial magic over it. It really does. It reads almost identical, Dancing with Dragons, which is a little sad. But that's just at a glance. Give me time to read it. Get in there and actually look at the details and take some notes. That's just my first off general opinion. Flipping through, I need more time to do it. I do know I've been getting constant emails about this book already. So I am going to do my dangdest to review it, and it apparently has a companion book, which I do have as well. I'm going to try and review that as well. So give me some time. Got a lot on the table. Staying busy here at Working Dragon Mystic. We are definitely fueled by coffee, though. So, hey, we will get her done. You know what I mean? But, we got a lot of projects. I actually have a spell video that I've been wanting to shoot for a while. It's been an issue because I need to get outside to shoot it, and weather every time I wanted to shoot it was never good. But now that I got a new camera, guess what, people? We can finally do this video. So I'm hyped to get that video shot this week. So looking forward to that as well. All right, let's see what we got here coming through. Let's see. I'll admit, Father Sebastian is a bit of a controversial member in the vampire community, though he is, and he was there in the early foundings of the modern vampire community. I have found many of his writings to be quite interesting and fascinating. And I've not checked out his newer works. I checked out some of his older works. I do have some of them still. Some of them most of them actually were out of print now, unless he's republished them. But he is an interesting figure, has a lot of interesting thought processes. And as far as a magician, he gets results. So, you have to respect him on that. And I do respect his work within the community. Though I will admit, and this is one of the things, everybody has an opinion on it, everybody. But my personal opinion is, he done what he done to help the community when the community first started. And I personally do not know the details of the controversies. So I'm not going to get into it. It's not my business. If he ever wishes to talk to me about it, that'd be his business. I have had an opportunity to sit and chat with him a few times. The controversy never came up. I had better things to talk about than gossiping like a bunch of church girls. So, yeah, I honestly think a good chunk of the controversy, this is speculation personal, but it happened at the same time the modern community opened up and went into a lot of role players and just people playing the part. It lost its seriousness. It lost its focus, and I think that might have had something to do with it, because I think he possibly bucked up against that a bit and didn't want the community opened like that. But then again, maybe he was the one that opened it. I don't know. So. But his writings are definitely worth reading. In fact, one of my things is I actually personally, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I will actually try to find authors I don't agree with. And I want to read their works, because I truly believe by exposing ourselves to differing viewpoints and opinions, we stand to grow greatly in wisdom and understanding. And I try to apply it and utilize it and see actually how it happens. And see what happens. Can somebody just text Hydrate and let me know that the chat is still working, because it seems like it's just come to a stall suddenly. And what the flip happened? Okay, that was weird. Okay, so it is still working. Okay. I don't know, it just went still there, and I was just like, oh crap, after that week where it froze, I was like, tell me we didn't, how long have I been rambling and this thing's been broken? That would be just my luck, wouldn't it? Let's see what we got here. I know I missed a few things here somewhere, but it's been slow. Do we need to master or practice energy balls and hand rubbing energy sensation to master energy manipulation? Okay, energy balls and hand rubbing, you don't really master those. Those are basically like kindergarten tricks in order to get you to understand the concept of feeling energy. That's not, that's like trying to teach you how water feels wet. They are excellent techniques for starting. Do you have to master them? No. I know a lot of energy workers who absolutely never use them and never have used them. So it's not a requirement. There's many, many different ways to learn to manipulate energy and to utilize it in your practice. Both of those are actually very excellent ways to get a beginner to understand it. Hands down, they are absolutely great tools. I tend to use energy balls more than hand rubbing, because honestly, the hand rubbing, does it generate and stir up energy? Yes. But it also stirs up and generates a physical phenomenon that could very well just, with the physical phenomenon of the friction being there as well, I find it to be not as useful, because more often than not, I've noticed people tend to focus on that as opposed to the energy generated. And then that actually causes a disconnect when it comes to working with energy. So I actually don't utilize that one with my students at all. I know a lot of people do, but I personally do not. Um, that's just me. But the energy balls, I do actually utilize a bit more with my students in different ways, very not always the same way as many people. But yeah, you can use them. They're not the only way. There's more one way to skin a cat. More than one road to a city. More than one way up the mountain. You know what I mean? Let's see. Anthony, highly recommend the school. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. Glad you're enjoying it. Mugs up to you, mate. Oh. And Jay dropped the Gilded link. Appreciate that, Jay. Thank you much. Balance, hello. GK, hello to you as well. Still good. Hey, still working. What kind of energy exercises do you recommend? Honestly, that's kind of the kicker here, Dragon of the West, because it really depends on the person. I do like the energy ball. I tend to find that one works for most people, especially with my one-on-one students, because if they question whether or not they can harness energy, much less feel it, it's one where I can generate the energy ball and they can easily slip their hand in between my hands and feel the energy. And in fact, one of the things I often do with my one-on-one students is not only do I want them to learn to feel energy, I want them to learn to identify it. So we actually do an exercise where I conjure energy blindly and they have to guess what energy I'm generating. And we actually keep track of their results. Most of my students currently are to about an 80% accuracy every time. Beyond that, I find that learning to understand the basic four earth, air, fire, and water tends to be a major one, which if you actually check out my video on basic energy work, I actually give the exercises there that I recommend starting out with. So yeah, good questions though, because that is good. Meditation also helps. In fact, most of the exercises I leverage in some of the meditation classes for my students deals with learning to feel energy and understand what it's like to experience and work with that energy. In fact, in the meditation course at the online school, we cover varying forms of meditation. We cover passive meditation, we cover active meditation, we cover movement meditation, we cover trance and guided meditations. And there's an entire path working that actually deals with the elements and working deeply within those elements, within the elemental planes themselves, and experiencing those elements on a very deep, and intimate level. And those meditations are some of the ones that I have found over the years really are the exercise that seems to benefit my students hands down the most. Andrea, do you see dragons physically? Like when you no, when you even if you were to fully evoke an entity and it comes to the physical plane, it does not have a physical body, so your physical eye cannot see it the same way you see your dog. It requires a physical body for that. If a dragon had a physical body, its energetic aura alone would pretty much rip this planet apart. For most large dragons, even something the size of a guardian dragon would rip something the size of the state of Texas apart. So, yeah, as long as those states or physical objects aren't ripped apart and torn asunder, you can be pretty sure a dragon was not there with a physical body, and you cannot see it with your physical eye. You can, however, see it with your arcane senses, and it is possible that your arcane senses does communicate information enough that it feels like it's being processed through your physical eye. But if you actually examine the physical eye, it's not reacting to it on a physical level. It's your brain actually transmitting and understanding the information ahead of time. Hope that makes sense. Hey, Terry, take it easy. Have a great week. Good to see you again, too. See, net problems got a level. How's everyone doing? Doing good, Angela. Doing good. I've used many of the pentacles from the Goetia over time, and I've charged them in different ways. Um, I have you, I have charged them in the fashion of the Solomonic traditions. I've also charged them just using basic energy charging, neutral energies. I've charged them with draconic energies. I've charged them with planetary energies in the case of many of the planetary pentacles. Um, and I found that they ultimately, when you charge them and you activate them, the same way or similar that you would charge a sigil that you make yourself, they will work and they work quite effectively. Um, I'm still doing some testing on them because let's be honest, the Goetia makes a few claims because it is written in the old grimoire style, which is encoded. It's actually written in a way to misdirect you. Um, that a lot of people view them as not worthwhile, non-functional, all this other crap. But I have actually found that they are pretty potent and can be actually very useful. That's one of the reasons I'm wanting to do a course dedicated to the Goetic spirits and those pentacles. I actually want to do an entire course and path working focused on the Goetia. And I've actually pulled my old notes on the old path working that I done. And if I do this, we're looking at like a 2 year path working in one course. Um, and I'm wanting to bring that grimoire, dust off some of the misdirection, and bring it into the modern day and modern uses and how it could be applicable to practical magic without all the Solomonic things that a lot of people view very disrespectfully to the spirits. And I understand, I'm in the same boat. So I personally don't enjoy the Solomonic tradition in as it's laid out, but the pentacles and everything can still function without all the threats to the spirits. So yeah. So do psychic or mental force take on a physical presence when enough of it is present? So are you asking that if an entity gets enough energy, can it have a physical body and not require your arcane senses? The general answer to this, to all my research, is no. Now, theoretically, with strictly within theoreticals, it might theoretically be possible for some entities, like say Azazel himself, if he is able to conjure up enough energy or whatnot, or a ghost to create a physical manifestation, theoretically. However, I have looked for more than 25 years for anyone to provide even the slimmest shred of proof. So far, no one's not been able to do that. So, to that question, I'm going to have to say at this point in time, I've seen no proof that it is actually possible. Though I do know that dragons themselves literally would not, because again, their presence would literally rip this planet apart, and they're not really going to do that. So, let's see. Sorry. For the Goetia, I don't use the method of trapping them as in the old grimoires, I believe. And no, I'm a god and have the will to command. Um, they may listen, but trust me, they're not enslaved to you. Hope you're not trying to think they don't have their free will. I've seen that get a lot of magicians in trouble. But yeah, I am glad to hear you're not trapping them. It is so disrespectful. It is. But for the people who do use the Solomonic tradition in its original form, and they get results, if you're getting the results you want, that's one thing I always say on this channel. If the method you're doing is giving you the results you want and you're happy with it, you keep on doing it. Keep on trucking. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, you keep on doing you. Again, there's 1,000 ways up the mountain. Well, infinite ways, really. Let's see. Do we need to focus on one type of energy center's interpretation to develop our energy body, or can we use multiple different interpretations to stimulate? Again, there's thousands and infinite ways potentially up that mountain there, Dragon of the West. There's a lot of people who have different methods and different interpretations. Some people struggle with certain methods. and paradigms greatly, and then they have an easier time with other paradigms. I do take a bit simpler of approach with my students that tends to overall, in my experience, give me pretty good results with my students. And many of those students are ones that had very, very difficult times using other methods or paradigms. Does that make mine the right, correct one? No, that just means that for my students, this one worked. So there is no one absolute true end all be all. This is how it's done. Put a stamp on it. Mastery of it. There's always going to be different methods and ways to accomplish the goal. Wildfire, how exactly do you use phases of the moon? Times of the day. Okay, so this is actually one of those things I really don't use a lot of. I really don't. I got better things to do than sit around and wait on the moon. I really do not work with the moon. That tends to surprise a lot of people, but I do not. If the working I'm having to do associates with a moon phase and the moon phase happens to be there, fine, great, awesome, I'll do that. Otherwise, I don't wait. I'm a mage. I don't believe I should be bound to the limitations of, oh crap, I can't do the working I need to do to help Bob over here because wrong day of the month, moving on. Now, when it comes to the hours of the day, this one's actually pretty controversial because at some point somewhere they decided to assign a planetary relation to the different hours of the day. And every hour of the day has a different planetary relation based on the day of the week. And there's so many different ways to calculate it, and it never comes up the same depending on the tradition you're looking in, which means this is a correspondence that certain people within different traditions have agreed upon the correspondence differently. Now, Conway, for example, gives one of these charts in, I want to say it was Dancing with Dragons, she talks about it. And hers is a fixed chart. So if you just look at the chart, you look down there, every hour has a nice little phase through it, and you can just, like 2 o'clock is the sun, we'll say. For one day of the week, it'll be like 2 o'clock. That hour represents the sun, and that because of that, harnessing solar energy from the sun would be more potent at that particular time of day, should you choose to do it. Well, all you would have to do is look at your chart, look at your correspondence, the one that you use for your particular tradition, and you would do your working at that time in order to harness that energy. Again, I ain't going to wait on the particular time of day. If I got a working to do, I got a working to do, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that working. And over the years of testing this, doing it at certain times of the day, testing it, not doing it, I've actually done it at the complete opposite. I have noticed personally for my practice, absolutely no difference at all, none. So since there's no benefit to me, I just really don't use them, Wildfire. That's not to say there's anything wrong with using them for the people who want to use them. Some people, it helps them get into the frame of mind to set aside that special time of the ritual. It's like if I do it here, if I wait to this phase of the moon, it helps them get into that ritual state of mind because they're placing those limitations. Those limitations actually help them ease into that ritual frame of mind. And that's totally fine if you're that practitioner who that aids you. It doesn't aid me. If anything, it frustrates me and pulls me out of that frame of mind. So this is one of those things where knowing yourself as an individual really comes in handy. But should you want to use them, that's all you do is actually set up your ritual utilizing the correspondences of that planet. And then you check the chart to find out when that planet's hour would be of that day. Usually happens twice a day. And then you just do your ritual at that hour. I think they even have phone apps now where you can actually track the planetary hour. So you could look that up. I know they did 6 years ago. God, I feel old, but yeah, 6 years ago, I remember they had one. I don't know if it still exists, but you could look that up. I think it was literally called Planetary Hours. Let's see. Let's see. See, Caleb, why does that name so familiar? Hello again. I hope you and everyone are doing well. Viewing Kabbalic and Qliphothic imagery in media, such as a movie, affect someone? Can it help translate them? No, no, it cannot. You cannot just watch a movie. Like if I did a video and I slapped a sigil up here and said, "This is the sigil of the sphere of Lilith," no, no, it cannot. This is one of these modern concepts that I do not know how people got into this. So if I draw a sigil and I show it in a video, it does not affect you. It's not going to affect you. The symbol itself has no power. None, not a zero zilch. There is no true sigils. There is no true any of this. You draw out a sigil, okay? Unless you put power to it, it has no power. It's just a bunch of lines on paper. Same thing with any media. And in the case of movies or the like, or if you're watching a video, again, you would have to open yourself up to it in order for that to function just the same. So no, no, that would not. Now, if you're opening yourself up to it, well, that's on you. That's your choice, and then that could potentially do it. But again, it takes the same skill set as if you were to be doing it at home. It's not just going to randomly happen. Those things aren't doors that just you slip through. There's been a lot of scare tactics and boogeyman and fear mongering around those symbols and those texts. And I try to figure out why so much fear mongering is around it, because I know that if you actively pursue it and do something stupid, yeah, you can screw yourself over pretty bad. Keyword is you have to actively make that choice and pursue it. I've done it. I've talked about it on here. I actively made a lot of stupid mistakes with the clip off. Actively. Never just casually passing by, looking in a window. Oh, look, there's a sigil. Ah! No, that don't happen. Um, but because I mean, I had a little girl who was interested in flipping through one of my books with the neat little images and whatnot, and it was a Qliphothic book. Um, Never done anything to her. So no, you actually have to actively open it. You have to intently open it. You can't just accidentally do it. Mario, hit the thumbs up. Yeah, people, please hit the thumbs up. Tell that YouTube algorithm you actually like this crazy old Southerner up in here. Or at least you like my hat, either one. Please do. That really helps us out. It tells the YouTube to show more people we're here. It helps more people find us. See, I do not practice magic. I'm Muslim by religion, but I do agree with disrespect. Do not disrespect. And see, that's fine. See, I love having people who don't practice here, not because I want to convert you, not because I want to get you practicing. I love having an open discourse with people. I love people in general, and I got a lot of friends who are actually Muslim. I really think it's actually a pretty cool theology myself. Um, so, and I have a lot of friends who are not magical practitioners, and we can have some wonderful, absolutely wonderful conversations. So, yeah. And again, respect. Is respect hard? Why is respect so hard? I don't get why in the modern world respect is hard. Disrespect seems to be so easy for so many people, yet we can't get a basic understanding of respect. So it is great to see individuals who may not be magical practitioners, but they still understand the value of respect. So that means a lot to me. So thank you. Mugs up to you. Yeah, see, Mario, that's kind of been my opinion because, and that's one of the reasons I've actually gravitated further and further away from tools. Like when I first started out, I had all the tools, I had all the toys, which if you're just a knickknack collector, that's fine. But me, I'm not a big fan of it. I My practice has actually gravitated to the only tool I need being me. You take me, you lock me in a room with no book, no tools, no crystals, no nothing. I can still be just as potent a magician as I am anywhere else, any other time of day. And I truly, truly believe, truly philosophically believe that a magician and a mage should seek that form of empowerment. Um, if you need a tool, if you need a time of day, if you need a moon, if you need a planet, um, that's not self empowerment. That's you drawing on the power of another, and that has always been something in my practice that has bothered me. And that's the reason a good chunk of my research has been applied to do these things make a difference in my practice, yes or no. Um, and when I'm working with students, I tell them, give these things a try. This is what I found. By all means, try them for yourself. See if you find a use for them. And if you find a use for them and they help you, use them. But my job as their teacher is not to teach them, do as I do, be my disciple. No, my job as their teacher is to give them a framework, to give them a skill set so that they can take that and they can walk their path and their practice and achieve their goals and pursue their research. That's my job, and that's my goal as a teacher. I want them to be independent thinkers. So let's see. Belial Soul, you actually are correct. Belial does actually teach a lot of that self mastery concepts and doing away with the things that aren't really the power and the self empowerment. You being the master of self. You are correct. Belial does teach a lot in those areas. There's a lot of other entities that I've found also teach on it. Though I do think right now Belial and Lilith may perhaps be the two most outspoken popular names. And there's plenty of entities out there that do not get a lot of popular names. People just don't know the names. I mean, think about Norse mythology. There are so many different Norse gods, yet most people might be able to name five off the top of their head. And those are usually Loki, Odin, Thor, Freya, and Tyr. Occasionally Heimdall and Frigg's added in there. But that doesn't even begin to scratch the surface. So, and I can't say too much because if you throw me into Greek mythology, I'll be honest, when it comes to Greek mythology, yeah, I usually know the top names. My Greek mythology is very, 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 very rusty, I'll be honest with you. But that's just an example of how there are certain names and certain publications that just make the rounds. Most people know the name. And Belial and Lilith definitely seem to be the two big names in that category. Kevin, is there a way to do your online class without internet? All I have is this phone, and you're right. All you really need in Magick is you. I will have to look into that. I know the online school. I Let me talk to some of my students who use their phone for a lot and see if phone works for it, because I really don't know myself personally. I actually despise my smartphone. I don't know if y'all know, but I got these big old bratwurst fingers. Look at that big old damn thing. So when it comes to using a phone, I really don't use smoke. Yeah. So what's this? Smartphone works. Okay, so it does look like the smartphone will actually work with the classes, Kevin. Jade already got that. Thank you, Jade. You on top of it. Woo! I use my phone when working most of Drake's classes. Awesome. So there you go, Kevin. Someone knew what I didn't. This is why we keep Jade around. She's smarter than I am. At least when it comes to technology. So yeah, you could actually go on your phone if your phone has internet access and do the classes there. You don't need an actual computer internet. You can do it via 5G or Wi-Fi or whatever it is the phones are using these days. And you can do it on your phone. Beyond that, I do not think they're not downloadable or anything. They're streaming style classes that you can watch at your own pace and take your time and rewatch. Um, so yeah. And Balance uses his phone as well. Awesome, cool. See, y'all taught me something. That's good. No, that's good to know. That is good to know that it will work on a phone. Thank you. Hey, Kevin. Hey, I suck at tech too. I really do. Um, yeah, my wife laughs at me when I'm sitting here trying to figure things out. Usually, my daughter teaches me technology when she visits. Like, apparently, this TV here we've had for I don't know how long. You can take your phone and cast a YouTube video up to that sucker. I didn't know it could do that. No one told me. And then apparently, you can even log into the internet on that sucker. Again, didn't know that. Had it for 2 years before it ever got logged into the internet because I'm an idiot and I didn't know it. Apparently, my wife knew and she thought I knew, so she just didn't bother telling me. Um, and then when she found out I didn't realize it could do it, I'm pretty sure she laughed at me for about 4 hours there. Luckily, she didn't stop breathing or nothing, but hey, at least she had a good smiling laughter day. Love her to death. Thanks for what is the image? What if the imagery was subtle, shown in a work that has already inspection because of someone. So a piece of artwork can trigger a lot of emotional things. Artwork of any kind, even unconnected to the Qliphoth or the Kabbalah. And if you're utilizing, again, here's the interesting thing: if you utilize Kabbalah or Qliphothic imagery within a piece of art, the art can trigger the emotions and the ideal and the interpretation, just like any other artwork can. For the person to consider, but it will not open up the Qliphothic or the Kabbalistic spheres for the individual, exposing them directly to the currents without their knowledge or intent. It doesn't work that way. There are safety gates on those spheres and pathways. So, like, for example, if I was to create a piece of art or even a coffee cup that had a wonderful piece of art where the whole concept is for you to look at it and to gaze into this artwork and get a feeling of honor and responsibility and to consider how you could improve these in your life. Could I enchant the artwork to get you to consider those concepts? Yes. Could I include Qliphothic imagery that's going to throw you unwillingly into one of the spheres and let the sphere hammer you the way you would if you were to open the sphere? No, because you must willingly enter the sphere, and you must willingly and knowingly enter the sphere. Which, as someone who's worked within those spheres, believe me, that is a grateful thing. Very grateful. Even if you are looking at the artwork and you're considering the emotional impact it's having, and it is making you introspective and contemplate things, again, you would have to willingly and knowingly open up into the sphere. There is a difference between introspection and opening a sphere, drastically different. Let's see. Is it Valen? A Drake question. What are your preferred go-to ways you establish a working relationship with deities or entities? And what are your preferred methods of communication with them? I think I did a video on working with deities that touches on this. But for me, I actually try to research the entity first to get a little idea of who they were in the past, what their mythology is, and I try to take notes on that. And then I usually reach out to them through meditation first, just to kind of get a handle on their energy, to see if I can get a feel for who they might be in some cases. But there's also often times where I just skip the meditation and I go straight to evocation. I will evoke them. And then I will sit down and have a conversation with them as an equal. That's a big thing. For me in my practice, I never kneel, I never worship, I never bow to any entity, not even a deity. I work with all entities as my equal, and I treat them with the same respect I expect them to treat me with. And if they are not willing to treat me with that respect, they can take a hike. They're not worth my time. But as long as that respect is going both ways, and then I will sit and get to know them the same way I would a person. Actually, I want to get to know them. I want to know who they are as an individual. I want to talk to them. I want to have those conversations. And I do actually work with them and try to achieve goals and whatnot in their areas, and I will track the success of that. So there are entities that I have found that I find more reliable in different instances, and that's not to say that in all instances this entity is not reliable. I find that some entities may be more reliable in different situations than others, just like you know which friends you can trust with what. We all have that friend. We trust him with our life, okay? We would trust him with our life, but we would not let him watch our house when we were out of town. Let's be honest. We all have them. We know them. Whether it be we're afraid they're going to break something in the house, whether we're afraid our liquor cabinet's going to be empty, whatever the reason, we have a reason for not wanting them to watch our house. But we also have a friend we wouldn't trust them with our life. We know if some crap went down in a bar or someplace, they're disappearing. But that one we also know we could trust with our house. We know our house is going to be clean, it's going to be nice, nothing's going to be stolen. So you have to understand that these entities are very much like people, and there are areas where you will find that they're more reliable than areas they're not. And it's not necessarily because they're bad at certain things, it's just personality traits. Much like people prioritize certain things, entities themselves will prioritize certain things over other things as well. Is that Chantel? I hope I got that right. Welcome. Greetings. Glad you could join us. Uh, okay. Favorite's hard to do. It really is. That is really hard for me. Least favorite is Raw. That's not hard. Me and Raw do not get along. Yeah. We don't get along. I will only work with Raw when a client or individual needs an intermediary. For my personal practice, I won't work with him. I've made it very clear in my personal practice, I want nothing to do with him. I ain't going to worship him. I ain't going to bend the knee to him, and he don't like that. And yeah, I told him to basically shove off. That's the nice way of saying what I said. Um, but I'm not allowed to say what I said here on the YouTube. So that should give you an idea on how articulate I might have been that particular day. Um, at this point in time, we have literally gotten to the point where I will help others work with him or whatnot if they need to. But beyond that, me and Ron don't have any contact with each other at all. Yeah, he is hands down the one I just don't like. And it's weird because I've got a lot of magicians who've kind of had the same opinion of Ra, which is really funny when you consider how popular Egyptian magic is. But let me make this very clear when I say this. Just because me and Ra get along bad doesn't mean me and Egyptian deities do. I love working with Thoth. I love working with Isis. And there's other ones I work with, but I don't work with them as often as others. First off, Egyptian deities are really big on the worship. I don't do worship, so they got their bag, and I respect that they got their bag. And for people who want to do it, that's fine and dandy. It's not my cup of tea. So we cross paths on occasion when things require, and so far, the ones that are willing to respect my ideologies, and as well as me respecting respecting them back, yeah, I'll work with them. But yeah, it's a tricky one. Let's see. I've been so busy listening and learning while printing a constellation passion. I was not interactive, but I enjoy learning. Thank you. Hey, Valstar, no problem. Someone actually told me they listen to my videos as they fall asleep because they find my southern voice soothing. I thought that was pretty cool. I really did. And so, yeah. And I know a lot of people who tell me they listen to my videos on the drive to work while working on other things because they can absorb the information. Apparently, I explain it well and easy to understand. I always think sometimes I might overcomplicate things with my Southernisms, but apparently I don't. So yeah, however it is, I mean, if you can listen and learn, that's great. I'm always happy when people's learning something, even if they're learning I'm an idiot, because at least that gave them something to think about and consider. So I think Solomonic magic was written in the way it was to keep people from doing magic, not to do it. I tried Solomonic magic. Yeah, Solomonic magic is, first off, the Goetia is written for someone who has a lot more knowledge than the book supplies. And so there's a lot that's not in there. And you are correct. It was written in ways to dissuade people from doing it because by and large, when you look at it, it's not worth it. It's really just not worth it. And a lot of that is to also encode and kind of hide some of the truths away, which was pretty common during those grimoire eras. And that's the reason grimoires aren't as useful as people want to think they are. They're like, if I only got my hand on this grimoire, not really. The grimoire really doesn't tell you a whole lot. It wasn't meant to. It's more like a diary. Like if you read my journals make sense to me because all the pieces that are missing are up here. I know them. I know what's missing. I don't need to write them down. I know it. I'm not going to forget it. Knowing that's as easy as breathing. What I write down is the shit I know I'm going to forget. So if someone comes behind me to read it, there's a lot that's not in there, and it's not going to make as much sense to them. Grimoires were written in that same mind frame, if that makes sense. I have interacted with APEP a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, Crowley's work was a good example of that one. It really was. You are correct about that as well, so. And that's one of the reasons why when I present information, I I present it candidly. It's like there's no tricks, no traps, no nothing. But at the same time, I refuse to do a guided meditation where it's like, let me walk you through everything you're going to smell, everything you're going to see, everything you're going to feel, every little step you're going to take. Because that's pointless. That's me telling you something. Instead, I want to give you a rough framework. Anybody who's listened to any of the guided meditations on this channel or in the classes, you'll notice that there's a framework presented to get you in the mind, to get you in the journey. And then there's a point where I shut the hell up. Drake steps back and lets you take over so that you're now in that spot and you're running forward and you're experiencing that unique experience and that interaction and that gnosis that you should be experiencing. Whereas there's so many guided meditations out there that I literally want to set fire to because there is no time for gnosis. It's just, let me tell you what you think. And that's horse shit. I want to teach people to think for themselves. I don't want to teach them what I think. I want you to think for yourselves. And that's why I think that point of stepping back and letting them experience something on their own in personal gnosis is so very, very important for any type of guided work like that. But I do try to keep everything very pointed. And there are the clocks. I'm getting clocks thrown at me. Dragon List, that's a much harder one to answer, for a lot of different reasons. Because some of these pop culture characters, as you call them, actually do have a historical figure that they're built on. And in which case, well, of course, they exist in the astral because they exist within the spiritual plane. Some of them, we're not sure if they actually had a historical representation or not. Um, so that gets into a philosophical debate. But you know, so that's a much larger question. Good question, but it is a larger one. Um, well, sorry, take it easy. So yeah, we will get ready to wrap up here because I do have a meeting I got to get into myself. You all have a wonderful night. We do have a video releasing on Tuesday, and if my memory serves me right, Lord, I hope it does. Don't let me embarrass myself now. I want to think it's a follow-up and a deeper dive and focus onto the arcane pillars and the foundation of those pillars, because I've been getting a lot of questions about the arcane pillars and exactly what I meant by them. So I thought it was time to do a follow-up video on them. Do stay tuned. We got more stuff coming. Like I said, I'm currently sifting through a lot of my notes and journals and organizing them. We are still working on the evocation class. We do not have a release date, though we are definitely working to get it out. I know so many of you are vastly interested in the practice of evocation and how far you can take it, as well as the spiritual codex in which we are intending to include with the class. I am working hard on that to get it going. We are making a lot of progress. And thanks to viewer support, it looks like this channel is going to be able to do a few things that we have been hopefully, we've literally been trying to get done for a while. We've just never quite been able to make that mark. But thanks to you all, thanks to your all support of the channel and the work we're doing, it does look like we are going to be able to do more with Working Dragon Mystic and be able to get more of that content that we've been really hoping to get done. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. So I honestly think we got a lot of great things coming in the near future for the channel, and I'm really excited to see where it takes us and where it goes. So yes, you all have a wonderful week. Stay safe. Keep working on your practice. Don't get let down. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep the journal. Keep your records. Keep moving forward. Keep making that progress. We got a lot of people. The progress has been slow, but when they look back to that journal, they can see that they've grown by leaps and bounds. So believe me, that journal will help you. All right. Until next time, everyone, you have a wonderful week. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.